November 15th, you dropped It's Still Real to Me, Goddammit. And you've been releasing so many great songs from that album. It's so cool to see an album and how it's different than singles. People don't always realize that an album is almost a story. So going through these songs, prepping for this interview, thinking about how it all coalesces together was so interesting. It seems like an album is a different beast to take on than an EP, though, because you want it to all come together. And it can be somewhat restricting in that you want to keep it on theme and you want to bring this consistent piece to the people. What was it like to go into album mode and to deliver It's Still Real to Me, Goddammit?
Definitely. It's definitely a whole different beast because it's like you're creating your own world, right? But it's also, that's the really exciting part, as opposed to just dropping a single or a short EP, because you could really dive in and do cool concept stuff, and everything can live in this world, and it just creates a moment for the fans and stuff. So I was really excited to start it, and I hadn't put out a full length album before that in like 3 years. So I was kind of itching. I was really itching to put out an album. So I started making it at the top of the year, around January, February, and kind of just slowly pieced it together throughout the year, which was nice because it didn't feel stressful. It wasn't like I sat down and I felt the need to create an album in a month. I was like, I'm just going to make an album this year at some point. I'm not going to put a time constraint on myself. I'm just going to let songs come together, think of the theme in mind, and when it's finished, it's finished, and I'll put it out, but I'm not going to force it, and I'm going to continue, putting out other music if I feel necessary. And yeah, it ended up coming about, and just dropped. What are we? 2 days ago, 3 days ago now.
And how are we feeling after that drop? Are you excited? What is it like to put it out there, put your stamp of approval on it, and maybe have a little bit of peace that process has come to a close and now it's out there for the world? Yeah,
it feels really good to have it out, in the sense of just knowing where the idea started from. I'm thinking back to January, February, even with my videographer, and telling him the concept. And I'm like, hey, how can we, shoot the content for this and bring it all to life? And he was like, we can do like a documentary type thing, and we can do these kind of videos and this. And to think of where the idea started, and now just to like go on YouTube and watch the stuff and see the album cover and the world we created is like, it's such on an artist scale, it's such a fulfilling feeling. It's like why I started this in the first place. So it's been great, man.
What I find so cool about the album production and the process, I spoke to a videographer and music creator, Anakin, and he did all of it sort of based on the Interstellar. It's one of his favorite movies, and so it all had that spacey kind of vibe to it, and each song had its roots back to that. And for you, it's pro wrestling. It's Hulk Hogan. It's those voices that kind of underpinned this album, and you've posted a little bit about it. Can you take us back to those roots? What inspired it and what built that connection with this album?
Yeah, it was like the first real dream and like thing I latched onto as a kid. So it's just so special to me for many reasons. One, on a nostalgic level, I could always, I watched old wrestling videos and it just like brings you back to that time. But two, it was like, I really thought I was going to be a pro wrestler when I was 8 years old. And, so I guess the theme being like, even as an adult, it kind of, it's all still real to me. The realness being, passionate about something that might seem out of your range, or just curious to try new things and hobbies. Because, the older we get, I notice a lot of people kind of just get complacent and stuck and unhappy in their lives. And they kind of like, not even that everybody needs to chase this giant dream to be famous or rich or anything like that, but they kind of just stop being curious about life. And it's really sad to see, because there's just, this life is short and there's so much it has to offer. And, you never want to see people kind of, it just, what it seems like, to give up on it. So really the concept was like, just stay curious, stay passionate about something, stay excited.
One thing that I love that you did in an Instagram post is you just outlined that that was something I wanted to do, but I still get to pull from all these ideas and kind of the underpinnings of what that path is of pro wrestling, which is coming up with good lines. That's definitely something they do in the WWE, is come up with that perfect line that they're going to scream out and get the crowd going. So as a rapper, you absolutely do that all the time. Then you also have this bravado, this energy, this confidence that everyday people so rarely have, that we could go into something and ever say that we're good at it, let alone great at it. And so there are these pieces of it that kind of tie really nicely together. And I thought you were very thoughtful about how you kind of put those two pieces together.
Definitely. I mean, the music world and the wrestling world like share so many similarities, you know, even when you stated like you got the lines and you're, you know, I'm being myself, but you're, as an artist, you're playing a character to an extent, or you know, you got to like turn it on, especially if you're performing live or you're on camera, that type of stuff. So it was cool to like tie the two worlds together because they've both been such important parts of my life. So to bring it into one was like the ultimate dream thing I've wanted to do for years. I've wanted to make this album for like 10 years, well, maybe like 5, 6, 7 years. Like, just, I didn't know what it would be exactly, but I was like, I want to make a wrestling themed album that just, touches on the nostalgia and the story of it all. And, to be able to bring it to life is incredible.